What was it like on January 6th when you guys went there to film and you met with Jim?
Well, I didn't get much sleep going into that day, the 2 nights before. I was just really anxious because I knew that something bad was coming. I didn't know how. I actually thought that it might break out into civil war that day. That's how bad I thought it was going to be, and I think that we are lucky that it didn't. The stage, especially looking back now at the quote unquote failures that allowed people to get into the Capitol. I mean, the Senate there were still senators, in the room while rioters were in the building. So it was just chance that didn't escalate, or that more people didn't get shot and killed. I mean, if they had started firing on that crowd, what would have happened? I mean, would DC have just turned into a war zone? So I'm thankful that it wasn't worse, but I think for most people sitting at home who hadn't been tracking this stuff for months or years, it was very shocking that anything like that could have been possible. So I was I was on high alert going into that day, and I was there to document Jim's reaction to all of it. And get a better grip on just how much of a role Q had played. And Q, I don't think that the 6th happened solely because of Q. I don't think it would have happened without it either. And the amount of the ideology of Q, that its presence was everywhere that day, whether it was in the form of flags and patches, or just the chants that people were saying, or the songs that people were playing. It was all, you could see how much of it was informed by Q. And Jim reflects that in what he says that day. He's like, Q's real. It belongs in there, in like the history books now. And those guys were stoking the flames in the run up to it. So, now I'm feeling stressed just thinking about it, about what that day was like.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and in the heat of the moment, it was really unclear how I didn't know what was going on inside of the Capitol until later. Jim, I couldn't tell if he was LARPing or if he meant it when he said, when he was cheering at the fact that there was somebody, out the window in the Capitol. I'm like, that can't be possible. There isn't actually somebody out the window. I mean, it wasn't until, later that night and I saw the footage. I was like, holy fucking shit, the Q shaman got on the dais? Like, what happened?
Is that
How
that
is that
guy's
possible?
the guy with the horns?
Yeah. I mean, and I'd seen that guy, a couple months earlier at a Q convention. He's just like he's the definition of a LARPer,
Right.
But it was like a switch had flipped that day, and they had gone from LARPing, and that's why we play that hallucinogenic tune, going into the Capitol, because it was almost like the end of a really bad trip, and where suddenly it was like here they all were in this I mean the Capitol building. It was like a switch had suddenly been flipped, and I don't think that the people who were there, like the Q shaman and some of these guys, like, who knows what it felt like for them, but I think now they understand that they had gone from LARPing to doing something very real and consequential. And I think that the people who were provoking them understood what they were doing. I think that Trump and his inner circle knew exactly what they were doing. But, they just kind of, they let those guys do the work for them. And it doesn't seem like, Trump didn't come out and support them after the fact, right? He just kind of left them all out to dry. So, he was able to kind of walk away from it all untarnished. But we'll see how that narrative continues to get rewritten around what happened on the 6th. I mean, we're seeing it every day, and how is that going to be used in the upcoming election cycle? I guess we just have to sit back and watch. But some of the agencies, it seems like they're kind of brushing it under the rug, just like they don't really want to look at what happened that day. We'll see what the January 6th Commission dredges up, but most likely in a year we'll see a flip in who's in Congress. I mean, I thought, look, like everyone in Congress was there. Like the fact that there couldn't be some agreement on on investigating what had happened between the right and the left for that is, I think that gives you a sense of where we're at as a country right now. Like that should have been a bipartisan concern. They weren't just going for the Democrats that day. They were going for Pence, So
like there's no effort to sort of heal this like wound of division in this country. Like it's just like these people, they just want to use it to their advantage for more political power or for more influence or whatever it is. It doesn't seem like any of these people in power are interested in solving this problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there's some who are interested in solving it, but I think there's maybe just too much focus on self-preservation with a lot of people who are in power. And I think there was when Biden took office, maybe there was a hope that things would just like, oh, well, things are back to normal or something like, and that's just not the case. And there's no, just because it's been brushed off of Twitter doesn't mean that almost half of the country has changed the way that it feels about any of this, or that any of the problems that enabled that attempt have gone away. If anything, they've learned from it, and they're going to double down. No pun intended, but they're going to be more organized, more well funded, and more angry in the future. So, I don't think that it's I wish that there was more focus, and I think on getting the extremes closer to center, and the right and the left talking again. And I've seen some of it. Bill Maher's been doing it. There's been individuals who are saying like, whoa, let's start to break down what the fissures really are, and how these two sides are playing each other for their own political gain, and what the cost of that is. And if we don't start to de-escalate it, these two realities aren't going to be able to coexist.